In this video, we're going to go through 5 math questions to help you get primed and ready for that real estate examination. And that is coming up next. Hey, just messing. All right, look it. So the next 5 math questions are going to help you all get through some of this math on your real estate examination. Now, on the upfront, check it out. We really appreciate all of the support that you've been giving us for us to put out more free content and support y'all. If you can just please like and subscribe. That would mean the world to us. We've been working pretty hard at this stuff. I love to teach. I'd love to continue to teach and offer this stuff up on YouTube. It means a lot if you could do that for us. So without further ado, here's your 5 questions. Question number 1 of our math series. How many acres is a rectangular lot that is 130 feet long and 220 feet wide? Letter A, 0.33 acres. Letter B, 0.54 acres. Letter C, 0.66 acres. Letter D, 1.02 acres. Question number 1 of our math series. How many acres is a rectangular lot that is 130 feet long and 220 feet wide? And the answer is letter C, 0.66 acres. Let's go to the rationale and let me give you a quick understanding of how this is going to work. All right, so here we are in question number 1, and we were looking to figure out how many acres something is. So the way that we start that is the first thing we need to get a couple things sorted. Number 1, we want to always kind of memorize how many square feet there are per acre, because many times they'll give you questions like this and they're in, what is the size of something, but they give it to you in feet, and you're gonna have to figure out square feet and then convert to acres, right? So they like you to do that 2-step process. So you want to memorize before you walk into a testing center that there are 43,560 square feet in an acre. And you want to memorize that, okay? And you can rough it out. You can just go, hey, 43,000 square feet per acre, if you can remember it that way. But just kind of memorize this. And then to find the area of the lot, we have to multiply the length times the width. So in the question, it was 130 feet on one side and 220 feet on the other side. When we multiply these two together, we get 28,600 square feet. So this is in square footage. All right, so we know that that's square feet. Then we divide the area of the lot by 1 acre to determine how many acres it is. To do that, we have something that's already in square feet. We can't just divide by 1 acre. We have to divide by how many acres there are in a square foot. So when we do that, we have to bring out that old 43,560. We take that and we divide. So 28,600 is what we have divided by 43,560, and that gives us 0.6565. Now, that wasn't an answer. So many times you have to round. Many times on math questions, they'll tell you to round. If not, then assume that we round. So then we take 0.65 acres and we round it by 2 decimal places to 0.66 acres. So again, remember, the answer here is 0.66 acres. They wanted you to express it in acres. To do that, we needed to know how many square feet in an acre. All right, hopefully that was helpful. Question number 2 of our math series is a buyer is purchasing a home for $600,000 with a 10% down payment. If the lender charges 3 points at closing to make the loan, how much will the points cost the borrower? Letter A, $5,400. Letter B, $6,600. Letter C, $16,200. Letter D, $18,000. Question number 2, a buyer is purchasing a home for $600,000 with a 10% down payment. If the lender charges 3 points at closing to make this loan, how much will the points cost the borrower? And the answer Letter C, $16,200. Okay, for question number 2 here, a couple of things to take note of. Number 1, points. A point, 1 point equals 1% of the loan amount. So I'm going to say 1 point equals 1% of the loan amount. So classically, what they do on many of these exam questions is they'll give you a purchase price, and they're going to say how much somebody's going to put down. And then what we have to do is we have to immediately realize if they're asking us for how much of the, how much in points, we know that 1 point equals 1% of the loan amount, and points are based off of the financed amount, not the full sales price. So if we know in the question that they're putting down 10%, well, we need to figure out then what is the loan amount. So then if they're putting down 10%, that would leave 90% that needs to be financed if they're coming out of pocket with 10%. So what is 90% of $600,000? So we do a multiplication here. We can do it that way. We can just do 0.9 times 600,000, or we get a loan amount of $540,000. All right, so far so good. Then, since we know that 1 point equals 1% of the loan amount, 1 point of $540,000 is $5,400. Well, in this test question, they said that there was 3 points. It was a 3-point loan, so it was expensive. $540,000 times 0.01 is going to give us $5,400. That's how we came up with this math. Therefore, 3 points is just 5,400 times 3. So it's 5,400 times 3, or $16,200. 1 point equals 1% of, don't forget, the loan amount. Question number 3 of our math series. How many acres are in the east half of the northeast 1/4 of a section of land? Is it A, 40, B, 80, C, 90, D, 160? Question number 3, how many acres are in the east half of the northeast 1/4 of a section of land? And the answer is letter B, 80. So there are 80 acres in the east half of the northeast 1/4 of a section of land. Okay, so with this one, question number 3, this is all government survey. So when we are sort of learning this is called the government or rectangular survey system. And this is going to be a piece of most everybody's real estate examinations. This you will find in your legal descriptions units as you're studying this stuff. So remember, there are 3 legal descriptions. One was meets and bounds, one was lots and blocks, and then we had this government survey. And the government survey always kind of stinks when people have to learn it. If you're from the Midwest and beyond, you probably learned about this in your 6th grade civics class. But here on the East Coast, we don't use this, so it's a little obtuse. So there's a lot of hemming and hawing when I'm teaching students about this one. But fret not, this ain't that bad. The best way to do these is through visual examples. So check this one out. So remember that it is often easiest to work backwards when we're subdividing land sections. And a critical thing that we learn is every section. So you learn about the government survey, you learn about townships, and those are massive. And then you learn about sections, and that each township has 36 sections, and then each section has 640 acres. And that's a constant. You need to know that. That is consistent through and throughout. So you want to know, township is this massive thing, right? Then we have every township is broken into 36 sections, not 37, not 38, 36. Each section is 640 acres. So what we're looking at here is we are looking at some random section of the government survey, this giant square right here. Now this big square, this big thing, I'm just going to crudely sort of draw a line around it. This whole thing equals 640 acres. So you need to be able to assess and determine, get through that. You need to know that, right? There are 640 acres in a section, every section. Therefore, 1/4 of a section has 160 acres, and half of that quarter has 80 acres. So they were asking us, well, we need to work backwards. So the first thing we do is we first need to find the northeast 1/4 of this section. The northeast 1/4 of this section, then the east half, the east section, the east half of this. So the east half is second. We work backwards. We first start from the outside in. We first find the northeast 1/4 of this section. So we're looking at this section, and the northeast 1/4 is this piece right here. I'm just going to kind of crudely draw around it. And this is the northeast 1/4 of this entire bigger square, right? Like down here, this would be the southwest quarter. This would be the southeast quarter. This would be the northwest quarter. So we need to first find the northeast 1/4, and then the half of that is going to be the eastern half. All of this is the eastern half, and then all of this is the western half, right? So we're looking at it just from the east half of that northeast 1/4, and the east half of that northeast 1/4 is 80 acres. All right, so visually you can draw this stuff. There's also shortcut ways to do it mathematically, but many times I just tell my students, look, if you're that vexed, just draw a little doodle on your page, scrap paper, so you can understand what you're looking at. All right, so the answer here is 80 acres. All right, so how many acres are in the east half of the northeast 1/4 of a section of land? So again, we start backwards. We go in this way. So we have a section of land. A section is 640 acres. They're saying go deeper. We need to go to the northeast 1/4 of that section, and then we need to go into the eastern half of that section. So work backwards, my friends, and you will figure this out. So 640, the northeast half of that is 160, so this is 640, this is 160, and then half of that is 80. Boom. Question number 4 of our math series. Use the amortization chart for this question. A home buyer is purchasing a home for $500,000 with a 10% down payment. What will their monthly mortgage payment be for a 30-year mortgage at 5.625%? Is it letter A, $2,590.45? Letter B, $2,740.76. Letter C, $2,878.28. Letter D, $2,950.54. Question number 4. Use the amortization chart for this question, by the way. A home buyer is purchasing a home for $500,000 with a 10% down payment. What will their monthly mortgage payment be for a 30-year mortgage at 5.625%? The amortization chart is in the description. And the answer is letter A, $2,590.45. Okay, so on examinations, they will give you an amortization chart, and it could be a 1-question or a 2-part question. Question number 1, question number 2, use the amortization chart, but you need to learn how to read an amortization chart. They're not that hard. And then it's just a little bit of understanding on how you're able to calculate it. But back in the old days, they used to calculate mortgage payments by looking at a silly amortization chart. I mean, obviously today we're just like, hey, yo, Google but that's, they still want you to understand that critical skill. Why? I don't know. I'm not here to judge. But they want you to do it nonetheless. So let's check this question out, and you're going to need to know how to read one of these. Not a big deal, so no freak. So let's take a look at this. We're looking at an amortization chart right here. All right, so for question number 4. First things first, mortgage payments are based on the loan amount, not the total purchase price, right? So they throw in some stuff here to junk it up a bit to make you get confused. So let's leave the amortization chart for a second, and let's first distill this thing down to the loan amount. A a 10% down payment on a $500,000 home would bring the loan amount to $450,000. Remember from the previous question, then if they're putting down 10%, then that leaves 90% that has to be financed. So then 0.9 times 500,000 gives us a loan amount of $450,000. Invariably, they love to put in questions based on the 500,000 that you could try to catch you, right? So don't freak, relax, and then get to the loan amount first. Then, to find the total payment, look at the amortization chart and follow the 5.625 rate in the first column down with your finger to the 30-year rate in the 7th column. So we go all the way down and we find 5.625. There it is. And then we're going to find 30-year mortgage. We're going to find a 30-year mortgage, and then we're going to just basically go and connect them. Where do they intersect? They intersect at this number here, which is 5.75656, right? So like here's the thing. You might have to kind of blow this up a little bit on your thing. I'm just going to blow that up so you can see that. That's the number right there. So we're going to go in and find out what that factor is. We need that factor. We write that factor down. So the rate for a 5.625% 30-year mortgage is 5.75656. Now, that factor is per every $1,000 of loan amount. So this is where it gets a little interesting. So for every $1,000 of loan amount, you need to remember that. The factor is for every $1,000 of loan amount. Then we take this factor and we have to then figure out, well, how many thousands are in 450,000? Well, that's 450. So there are 450 thousands in 450,000. So you have to be able to get to this 450. And then it's simple. Then we multiply that rate here by 450. And that, my friends, ends up giving us our monthly mortgage payment of principal and interest. So a $450,000 loan at 5.625%, the principal and interest payment for that every month is $25.90.45. So again, using the amortization chart, we looked at that question. A home buyer is purchasing a home for $500,000 with a 10% down payment. Ooh, that's a trick. We have to figure out what the 90% of $500,000 is to figure out the loan amount. Then what will their monthly mortgage payment be for a 30-year mortgage at 5.625%? We need to read the chart, figure out the factor, then figure out how many thousands are in 450,000, and then we multiply 450 times that factor, and then we get letter A, $2,590.45. Question number 5 of our math series. Okay, Agent Nathan works for a home hunter's realty. He lists a house for $725,000 with a 6% listing fee, which is to be split equally between home hunter's realty and the selling brokerage. If Nathan has a 70-30 split with his brokerage and the house sells for the full asking price, what is Nathan's earned commission on the sale? Is it letter A, $6,525? Is it letter B, $15,225? Is it letter C, $21,750? Is it D, $30,450? Question number 5. Agent Nathan works for a home hunter's realty. He lists a house for $725,000 with a 6% listing fee, which is to be split equally between home hunter's realty and the selling brokerage. If Nathan has a 70-30 split with his broker and the house sells for the full asking price, what is Nathan's earned commission on the sale? And the answer is B, $15,225. All right, so look at commission math. I tell students, if you're not happy with math, if math gives you a little bit of anxiety, right? You don't feel that you're good at it. I know you can do good at math. All right, you're going to be fine. All right, just got to put in the work. Math can elicit strong reactions, so don't fret. But at least try to learn how to do some commission math. If you can at least get through the commission math, you're going to be okay. You don't get all the other stuff right. Okay, we got to get you stronger at the other stuff, the other theory and stuff, and then you're going to do fine, right? The goal is to get licensed. I want you to get licensed. Okay, so the idea here is we want to learn a little bit of this commission math, and they throw a lot of different curveballs here at you. So let's take a look at the solution to this question. Okay, so question number 5 here, 6% of $725,000. So the first thing we want to do is we want to know what the sales price is, okay? We also want to know, well, what is the total commission that's on the table and available? And that would be off of the sales price. So 6% of that is $43,500. The math is we take the sales price, $725,000. Remember, we get paid based off of the ultimate sales price times 0.06. You plug that into your calculator. 0.06 is the same as saying 6%, okay? And then that gives us $43,500. That is the total commission. This is the total listing fee, which is then, according to the question, split equally between the two listing houses. So we've got the listing side and the selling side. Each of those two companies split the commission 50-50. If they don't say 50-50, and if they say split, it's going to say split equally. Or they just might say split. Or sometimes watch out for the word co-broke. If they say co-broke and nothing else is written, then it's understood that it's a 50-50 split, okay? They're telling us here that this thing is split equally between the listing side, which is Nathan's company, and the selling side, whoever that happens to be, all right? It's two different companies, and that's another trick that you need to remember. Then we get the total commission, which means that each commission is going to get $21,750. So each company makes $21,750. Now, if Nathan's split with his broker is 70-30, then we want to find what 70% of the listing is. So then we have to think about, okay, well, what does that mean? That means that Nathan gets 70% and the broker gets 30%. So then we need to find 70% of the commission that his company took in, the listing side's share, to come up with Nathan's earned commission. So then we simply have to take that 70%, which is Nathan's cut, and then multiply it by the total commission that his firm took in, and that gives us a commission for Nathan of $15,225. Good for Nathan for negotiating a higher commission split. Remember, all commission splits are 100% negotiable. And that is 5 math questions, and I hope they serve you well. Work hard, take deep breaths, don't freak out about the math, and really study hard, study well, pass your exams, and tell us how you're doing. It'll make our day, really. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content and you want us to put out more and more stuff. I'm looking forward to doing it, and I'm looking forward to your successes in real estate.